Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Kentucky Derby qualifying points on the line in your Saturday race of the day. Kicking off the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 at Santa Anita. It's race number 5, the Grade 3 Sham Stakes. Newly turned 3-year-olds going a 2-turn mile. Let's take a look at this field. Only a field of 6, but I think it's pretty evenly matched. Bob Baffert has 2 horses in here. The 1 Authentic, 8-5 on the morning line. The 4 As You'll Coast, 5-2 on the morning line. Completely different running styles in their debuts.
Yeah, that is true. Authentic also got the big figure, the 87, for his career debut sprinting, but it was the other Baffert, Azul Coast, who went long in his debut. Overcame some adversity, to say the least.
You can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Our friends at Timeform US believes the pace will be fast, and I think it probably is going to be at least fair to fast. The 3 Uncaptured Hero stretching out, Authentic the 1 stretching out, the 5 Scoring stretching out. These horses have shown sprint speed, and I think the pace will be solid.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. All 3 of them, certainly you feel like they'll come out of there running, and then we'll see what kind of positions they want to take up.
Morning line favorite is the number 1 Authentic, a $350,000 son of Into Mischief. Bet down to 3-5 for the career debut, going 5.5 furlongs at Del Mar. We turn into the stretch here, and Authentic was pushing the pace on the outside. He's made the lead right now, and it may not be the sexiest win in the world, but he grinds it out, and the fig comes back big. An 87 bullet workout for Baffert on the 22nd of December.
Don't want to get too caught up in speed figures earned at 5.5 furlongs. But this horse certainly, if nothing else, Dan, he ran fine first time out. I just sort of appreciated the fact that he looked like he probably needed that race. He didn't break that sharply from the gate, but he had speed. I thought he was sort of green early on in there, and you saw him in the stretch. He just didn't feel to me like he was really laying it down in there. He was just doing what he had to do to prevail. It felt like the kind of race that he could really take a step forward out of it. This is a big stretch out for him.
I think Drayden Van Dyke's got to send. I don't think you want to get stuck in behind horses or fool around and let a horse like Uncaptured Hero or Scoring cross over on you. I think you've got to take advantage of the short run to the first turn, send this horse, and find out if he's the real deal.
That's right.
The number 2 is Zimba Warrior. This horse has some experience. He's run 5 times already. He was 3rd in the Bob Hope last time. It was a short field of only 4, but the winner of that race was okay. High Velocity came back. They stretched him out in the low Sal Futurity. He ran fine with an 82 Beyer speed figure. I think with Zimba Warrior, even though he's stretching out slightly, you got to take him back. You got to hope this pace is hot, and you got to try to get a piece at the very least.
Yeah, I think that's probably the plan with him. I mean, they've tried him in a couple stakes. He didn't run poorly in his last 2, but they certainly aren't the kind of performances that make you feel like he's going to be a huge player in this race. He's really got to improve.
Now, Authentic's main pace rival, I think, is going to be the 3 Uncaptured Hero, a horse that's been on the lead in his first 2 starts sprinting. We'll go back to Del Mar on November the 9th. This is a $100,000 maiden claiming race. An Uncaptured Hero, pace pressing throughout on the outside in the red cap. He's going to put this gray horse away, but it takes him a long time to do so, and he only wins by a head. I thought it was a good, solid, useful race. I think it's a good prep that really sets him up for this. My issue is lots of speed in this pedigree. I don't know about the mile.
I don't know either, especially if Authentic's going to be sending from the rail. It could put this horse in a pretty tough spot. The horse that he was dueling with there was the 6-5 favorite. So I guess if you want to give him some credit for that, it just sort of felt like kind of a match race with those two. They hooked it up early. They just sort of stayed together throughout. Uncaptured Hero got the better of it at the end, but I don't know, man. Stretching out with other speed in the race, it feels like he's going to have to take a pretty big step forward here.
Now, the higher-priced Baffert on the morning line, we'll see what happens at post time, is the 4 As You'll Coast. And this horse has sort of a turfy, synthetic pedigree. The dam was a real nice horse up in Canada, Sky Treasure, graded stakes winner on the turf. Lots of turf and synthetic influences on the bottom of the pedigree. This horse did some really nice things in his debut. I know it was against weaker horses at Los Alamitos, but he got bumped at the start. He got checked going into the first turn. He ended up 7 wide on the backstretch. Let's turn into the stretch. Now just look to the far left. He's been there for about 3 furlongs now, and it's a long, sustained 7 wide run, and he just runs by these horses. 75 Beyer pales in comparison to Authentic. I thought he ran a really nice race.
I think he ran a lot better than the figure is going to suggest. He just didn't really have an easy trip at all. I mean, and then you add in the fact that he's debuting around 2 turns going a mile, which isn't easy on its own. He had trouble early. He got carried very wide around the first turn and then never got over at all. I mean, he was very wide throughout the race. I would like to see track his stat on that race to see how much ground he covered, because he covered a lot. and he still looked like he had something left at the end.
That race was over a wet track, likely going to have to deal with fast going at Santa Anita on Saturday in a faster pace situation where he might get outrun early, but this horse did show a lot of potential in that race. The 5 is Scoring, a horse that's stretching out from 4.5 furlongs to a mile and hasn't been seen since this race on June the 16th. This is Scoring's career debut, and the Doug O'Neill horses, they usually are early 2-year-olds that excel in these sort of races. Scoring is in the blue silks. He's going to fight in here. He's going to finish second, get placed first via disqualification. He has a really nice pedigree. He's a full brother to Lady TNT, who won the Charlestown Oaks going a 2-turn 7 furlongs. A lot of sprint influences in this family. However, I wonder if stretching out 3.5 is a little too ambitious here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the plus side, with O'Neill coming off the layoff and running in this race, it's not a big field, and maybe he just feels like if this horse can show up and take a little bit of a step forward, he can get a piece of this thing. To be honest, I wasn't blown away with that debut, Dan. He chased Cal's Gem, the horse who was ultimately disqualified. He just chased him the entire way, couldn't get him in the stretch, and was only placed first because Cal's Gem interfered with Mickelson, the horse who finished third. He didn't even bother this horse. He just wasn't good enough to get there.
Tyshawn is the number 6, and I wouldn't sleep on this horse as a likely third choice in the race for Richard Baltas. This horse made his debut against the highly touted Honor AP. It was not a bad effort at all sprinting, but he just seemed to get into his rhythm going 2 turns last time out. He got closer to the pace. It was a nice trip tracking the 2 leaders from the outside, but he made a solid enough move on the turn. He grinded it out. It just acts like a kind of horse that really wants the 2 turns. He has a little pedigree. The dam was a multiple stakes winner on synthetic. This horse has valuable route experience, and he's got one more race than As You'll Coast.
Yeah, I mean, things to like. The figure from his last race suggests that he's a contender in this race. He took that 3-wide trip, dueled it, and prevailed. I thought he ran fine in that race. Maybe he's going to have to take another step forward here in the face of the 2 Baffords, but I don't see why he can't do that.
Let's take a look at our top selection for the Grade 3 Sham. We liked As You'll Coast. Listen, again, he doesn't have the fig that Authentic has, but he ran a lot longer than that mile race if you consider the ground loss. I'll give him a shot in here. We have the same soup.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like Baffert's probably got this field over a barrel with this dude. We'll see what happens. They don't have to win, but I'm not going to go against them, and I did. I gave As You'll Coast a little bit of a bump because he's already been long, and he really did run better than it looks on paper.
We'll go with As You'll Coast. Joe Rosario picks up the mount this time for Bob Baffert, 4-1-6-3 in the Grade 3 Sham. 10 Kentucky Derby qualifying points to the winner. Approximate post time on Saturday, 1:40 Pacific. Best of luck.